Alright, so here's a different one. This is a deck that I've been playing for a little while now, mostly at my local store. And so it's basically, I mean, it looks a lot like the Eldrazi Taxes deck, except I don't run, Thought Knots or Reality Smashers, which I understand, but really it's just a budget deck that I enjoy playing, and it seems to be working really well. And I figure that some budget players might appreciate seeing it. So, anyways, again, it does look a lot like the Eldrazi Taxes. So black-white lands, concealed courtyard, and caves of Koilos. The marsh flats, they're not budget really, but it's the most expensive card in the deck, unfortunately. But you can run evolving wilds; it's just fine. Um, the Lots of basics. You'll notice that I don't run any godless shrines. It turns out I don't need them because of the mana base is pretty strong. Um, so I'll get to the Vault of the Archangel and the one waste here in a second. So early game is just Disrupt, Inquisition of Kozilek, Thoughtseize. People pretty much expect that. I also run Tidehall of Scholars, so more hand disruption. And then I do run 4 main deck relics because there's so many decks that relic is just good against. But there are interactions in this deck that it happens to work really well. And I'm pretty sure that if you've been paying attention to Modern for some time, for any time at all now, you understand what's coming. And then for creature removal, I run 3 paths. I could see an argument being made to run up to 4. Um, so then it comes to the value. The early creature that I really play is Thraben Inspector. Just, it has the enter the battlefield clue token thing. I was running Wall of Omens at first, but I found that they just weren't quite as good, specifically because of Vault of the Archangel. Wall of Omens doesn't deal any damage, the death touch doesn't matter. Whereas with the Vault, a top deck Thraben will kill a Goyf, or a Death Shadow. And of course, it does also gain life. So between um, the 4 relics, the 3 paths, and 4 scholars, Wasteland Strangler helps kill off opponent's creatures pretty well. And I guess Ganti as well, but I'll get to that. So it's really good for. Eventually, I usually get something into their exile zone, and then I kill off a creature and put it back in their graveyard. Um, Displacer helps with that by doing the recurring engine between Scholar and Displacer. Or sorry, Strangler. And then Restoration Angel is a good flyer. It has 4 toughness, which is really important. So, and it's flash, so I can save my own creatures and still get more enter the battlefield triggers. Um, Gonti has been great. Every time I've resolved it, I've won the game because I've gotten somebody's Liliana the Veil and won the game with that before. I got somebody's Arling Cord. I got somebody's when I was playing against the Zoo deck. I was playing. Let's see. I one time I got a Bolt, which won me the game. So I mean, it's just every time. And then if you can get multiple triggers, it's just insane. Um, the Eternal Scourge is there because I only need 2 usually. If you get 1, that's all you need. 2 is pretty good too. But if they kill it, you just target yourself with Relic, get it back, play it again, and it's just non-stop. And usually that'll overwhelm somebody's removal. And then Flicker Wisp is another good flyer that attacks for a decent amount. So it's got evasion, and it's also there's some neat tricks you can do with it, like getting more additional triggers off of Scholar and Strangler and Gonti. And I guess if you got nothing better, Thraben Inspector. So if you know that Modern at all, you probably already understand where you can like curve out turn 2 Scholar, grab something from their hand, turn 3 Strangler, exile or put that card into their graveyard. So even if they kill Scholar, they don't get the card back, and you kill off one of their creatures. Um, which is the dream. It doesn't always happen, but it happens often enough that it's worth it. So it's like I said, it's been pretty good, and really you're just trying to play into the point of the game where you outvalue the opponent, and you use Vault of the Archangel to just kind of win the game outright after once you get to that point. For the sideboard, this is what I have so far. I know Rest in Peace looks kind of silly when I have 4 main deck relics, but it is good because people will try to kill off the relics or something. Whereas Rest in Peace, it is nonstop, and I don't have to worry about constantly trying to decrease a goif or something like that. It just the goif is a 0/1, and that's it. There's no getting around it anymore. And it also makes it so I don't have to do the target myself to get back my Eternal Scourges. And then I do have a third Eternal Scourge in case I'm playing against a grindy matchup. Against Jund are mid-rangey type decks with lots of black and green. There's 3 Mirror Crusaders in my sideboard. Against artifact decks like Affinity or Lantern or Eggs, I have 3 Disenchants and 1 Fragmentize. Um, and then again, Affinity, Eggs, Phyrexian Revoker is pretty good as well. And then for like burn decks, I have 2 combos and 2 Aegis. Both of them are really good. They basically have to kill Aegis. And yeah, they usually do, but it basically saves me damage. And if they don't kill it, then, whatever. If they do try to kill it, and a lot of times I can just blink it to save it. Um, yeah, it's, like I said, it's been working pretty well. So to demonstrate this, I just played a game, and I'll go ahead and play the replay. This was not against Burn or Affinity or anything like that. It was against that Temur Bloodbraid Elf Jace Moon deck, and it went pretty well. So here's opening. I do keep because I got 2 lands, and I have lots of early disruption. And because of that path and the Strangler, I feel pretty good. And then I can get additional value off of Flicker Wisp if I need it. Like I said, opponent is on the Temur Jace Bloodbraid Elf game plan, and they got a pretty good hand. So, yeah, they're going to go for that Serum Visions. I draw a 3rd land. Now, I played this land first because I don't want to give my opponent any information whatsoever. Maybe they'll think I'm on Hierarch or something, and that'll mess them up. I know they scribe to the top, but it's fine. I got to follow up with the Thoughtseize. So I'll go ahead and Inquisition. Yeah, and I grabbed the Goif. I don't have a relic yet, so I'm not confident in that. And I figure if they play the Ooze, that's, it's fine. I'll path that or, whatever. And then because this Goif, well, I figure they're probably going to play the Goif next. If they do that, I can path the Goif, and then I can kill the Ooze with the follow-up with the Strangler. And the Jace I'll just kill, or take out with the Thoughtseize, and then they got to worry about creature attacking Jace. So I already got a plan for how I'm going to curve out here. So they do in fact play the Goif. So I'll go ahead and Thoughtseize now, grab the Jace, and during their upkeep, I'm going to path the Goif. That way they don't get the untapped land on their turn to play Jace, And I also do it during the upkeep because I know they don't have a counter. So, yeah, and they're smart. They don't play the Scavenging Ooze quite yet. So I'm thinking, and I go ahead and I know they got a Jace, and I'm figuring they're going to try to follow up with Jace. So I'm trying to play it so that if they do follow up with Jace, then they have to bounce the Flicker Wisp, or the Flicker Wisp will just attack Jace. They can +2 Jace, but either way, I'm going to be able to kill off Jace. Now, this Restoration Angel is going to help me reset Jace if I need to at the end of their turn with Flicker Wisp. Or actually, I can Resto Flicker Wisp Jace on their upkeep, so they don't get Jace for a turn. Comes back into play with 3, and then I swing for 3 at Jace, and he dies. So that's the plan so far. And then if they play the Scavenging Ooze, then I can just kill it. And then I have 6 power on the board to attack Jace. Oh, I also targeted my own land here to threaten that I had a path. Yep. So, like I figured, they, plus Jace. And I don't... Oh, it's Eternal Scourge. I didn't get to see it. So here's where I'm thinking what I'm gonna do. I still want to kill. I'm holding up my displacer because of scavenging ooze, and this is where I get the idea. So I'll go ahead and I know I can attack them for 3. I don't care about attacking Jace because he's going to die here on their turn or on their upkeep. I'm going to do that trick that I just mentioned where I'll flick Resto Angel, Flicker Wisp, make it so they don't have Jace, and then attack Jace. So during upkeep, I'll fetch, get rid of Jace for the turn. So they're going to target me. And of course, now they want to get the Displacer. Or sorry, not Displacer, Strangler. So that their dude doesn't die, their Scavenging Ooze doesn't die. And I end up drawing Inspector, which isn't bad. So now Jace is going to come back in. I'll attack both at Jace, which is fine. I still have way more value than my opponent does. So got a clue token. So here, what I'm thinking is I attacked in with both. That way, no matter what, I kill the Jace. And if now they have no cards in hand, so what I can do here is I can let the opponent. If they attack in, I Resto Angel the Flicker Wisp, and then I can Wisp it or I can block it or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then I'll still have 6 power on board that I'm attacking with. If they don't attack, then I can Wisp the Vidalian Clique so that it doesn't come back into play. They're going to eat the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, they decided to play Blood Moon, I guess, to try to cut me off. But because, like I said, because of all the basics I run, I'm good. I think actually Blood Moon hurts them more than it hurts me. Yep, so hit attack for 4, and I'll just take it. It's fine. So during end step, I am going to. They have no cards in hand, so that means Vidalian Clique does nothing. So now what I'm going to do is target that guy, putting a Goyf back into the graveyard. They don't have a creature to save the ooze. They can't put Goyf in the graveyard and, suddenly pay a green while the whole thing's on the stack because it's all one thing. It's all one effect. So now I can just attack in. So that's 10 damage. And they go to 1. I mean, they could block, I guess, with Noble Hierarch, but they need Noble Hierarch for mana too. They try to play a Jace, but they forget they have their own Blood Moon out. So I pointed out to them, and they concede. So here we go to game 2. Here we go. I have to mulligan this hand because I have 3 colorless lands, and it's not going to do it for me. I'm not going to risk that. They got a pretty good hand. That's actually not bad at all. They're going to be able to be just fine through the Blood Moon, and they got a Bloodbraid out. And they're going to be accelerating into it. So I mull. And now this seems really weird that I keep a 4-land hand, but because the Relic and the Scourge, that's like a infinite cards almost, because they can just keep getting rid of Scourge and I'll just keep getting it back. So I'm good with that. And I know that they're not that fast, and Blood Moon does nothing to this hand. Now I scried to the top, it was a Strangler. So of course I'm going to keep that on top. So they're setting up to get past their own Blood Moon. And they did end up drawing a Season. They're going to try to cut me off of basics. But again, I run a lot of basics, so it doesn't matter to me. So I know they're probably going to try to follow up with Moon. I have no turn 2 play though. So my plan here is if they do try to play Blood Moon, I'll path one of these, and then I'll kill the other one, and it'll screw up their mana. If they don't play Blood Moon and they play, you know, like Ooze or something like that, or a Goyf, I'll just path it. Yeah, so they play the Blood Moon. So with that on the stack, I'm going to go ahead and path the Hierarch, so it disrupts their mana, because they were probably planning on using Hierarch to get around their own Blood Moon. Now they do get to go get a basic, but it's much less effective in Hierarch, and it's one less, what's that called? Exalted trigger, so, and they can't attack this turn now. And I'm constantly using Relic to make so they have no graveyard, so even if they do play a Goyf, it's going to be small. So now I'm going to kill the other Hierarch, so it really screws up their mana. And I put the Hierarch back into their graveyard from exile so that if they do play a Goyf, it's still only a 2/3. So they're trying to draw another land. Yep. And, you know, I could target myself to automatically make Goyf smaller and get rid of that instant, but I'm not too worried about it. If I just keep doing pressure on them, it's fine. So unfortunately, I cannot use Vault of the Archangel, but it's fine. I'll go ahead and attack, because if they block, then I pop the Relic. They don't know that I have another one, and I'll kill the Goyf. So I know they're going to take 3. And then I follow up with Scourge. Again, if they attack in with Goyf, it's not going to matter, because I'll kill Goyf by popping Relic and block with Scourge. If they kill Scourge, then I just target myself with Relic and I'm fine. Or else, even then, I'll probably just pop Relic anyways, just to draw the extra card. So now, because I messed up their mana base by killing those Hierarchs, they're not doing so hot on there. But they do get a Bloodbraid. So they cascade into a Serum Visions. And they put a Bloodbraid on top. They attack in. I'll just take the 3. It's fine. I have a faster clock still, because Goyf doesn't matter. So I don't want them to know that I have the Scholar yet. I decided to attack in and see if they'll just take it, which they probably are. Yeah, but no, they block with Goyf, so it forces me to pop the Relic. They don't know about my second Relic. So I'll pop it and draw my card. And now I'll play the Scholar and play the second Relic. And it was a tough choice here between Scavenging Ooze and Jace. I decided to do Jace because Ooze doesn't really matter. I'm going to be able to constantly get Scourge back. Whereas with Jace, they might be able to pull something off. I could see the argument being made, though, to grab the Ooze instead, because they do need to draw that blue mana. But remember, they did the Bloodbraid to the top. They cascade into another Blood Moon, which I don't care about. Yeah, and they decide it's better not to attack in. Probably a good idea. Again, not showing them what I got here. Now, they're tapped out here, so this means I'm going to be able to play my discard to get rid of Ooze. But I don't want them to know that the Ooze isn't going to hit play. I attack first, see if they'll trade. And they do, which is fine. Because now I can target myself, play the Eternal Scourge, and then get rid of that Scavenging Ooze. And we're good. I have way more value than they do. And they top deck Ancestral Visions, which doesn't do anything to my 2-turn clock here. Now they do get to bolt my Scholar, which, yeah, that sucks. They get their Jace back, but they still can't play it. Top deck of Thoughtseize to get rid of the Jace that they just got back. And that's it. They top deck another Ancestral Visions, which doesn't do anything for them. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. I really enjoyed playing the deck, and unfortunately, you didn't get to see Gonti happen. But maybe one day. But some budget players out there might like to see the deck and see it work. All right, thanks for watching. I know it's not Lantern, but